We're
Oh my
live.
God, chitty chatty, get atty. Are we going to have a little talkity, walk
It's
conversation?
time. I mean, I'm almost finding it hard to do it once a month. I kind of want to do way more. I get excited to meet with you each time and
I
talk
know.
about communication and life because there's so much going on right now, right?
Well, listen, communication, human connection, and because of you know how we feel about this right now, we're on digital recording devices. It really sort of pulls us away from one another. That whole the consistency of sitting around fires, singing, dancing, sharing fable, which you fable storytelling. You know that's a human condition and we don't do it. So to just throw around ideas and see how people are feeling about whatever, because we feel in such a pocket of singularity right now because of digital expression. I feel like, us coming together and sharing our ability to voice, and it's not about voice, it's about communication. It's about reaching out and sharing ideas. And I love that because I feel that that heals everybody when we talk about our fears, our concerns, our beliefs. None of it is real, as you know, Deb. The ego runs us, and the ego is not our friend and will tell us all kinds of stuff to keep us fearful and stuck in situations, right?
Yeah. And I think if we go back to the world dynamics right now here in January or February, actually, 2024, when we record this, there's just war all around us, but there kind of always has been. I think internet has gravitated us all so much closer that now we're seeing more devastation than we ever saw, but that's because we're more closer now. So the world is connecting. And I think in this time, it's so important that we give a voice of reason to not live in the demise and try to find just solution in right now because whatever happens tomorrow has no relevancy to today. So how do you find a way to build the relationships you're in, whether that's work or personal or anything that is drawing you to make it work for you, because we can't focus on all this other stuff, which many do, and that's fine, but you have to make what's going on for you in your immediate bubble the best it can be. And
Well,
I
and
thought
don't
we'd maybe
forget,
talk about that
yeah,
today.
don't forget, media will give an opinion. Whether they say, oh, we don't have an opinion, the job of them is sensationalization, to
Yeah.
sensationalize things. And what happens is we in our uh anesthetized state, because we are ruled by outside opinion, whether we know it or not. Um, it's kind of like I say, if a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear it? If, for example, you did not look at social media or you did not engage in any form of news channeling or anything like that, would your life be different? And I might suggest that just for a day, and you'll scream, especially the Gen Zers, because they're brought up on digital device. They don't know anything else. So when the big crunch happens and all hydro is taken away and we will not have any devices and none of that will work, you will be forced to use your own integral sense of reality. Your opinions are based on what you've been fed. And don't forget, if you're in a constant daily um, array of being fed all kinds of stuff. Like I can't go on to my phone without getting advertisements or, go on to Facebook or go on to Twitter or any of the platforms, which Deb, I despise them. And yet there's a part of my ego that believes you need to know what's going on. No, you
Mhm.
know what I need to know? What's happening in my life. Is my life a celebration? Yes. Is there turmoil and strife in my life? No. Am I thriving? Yes. Does that mean I don't care? Well, outside of me, where the relevancy of me in the situation, again, coming back to if a tree falls in the forest, I am not a part of it. But our world will lead us into having opinions that separate us from each other. They
Yeah.
think this, I think it's my way, you think it's the other way, bloody, bloody blue. And
Hmm.
that's where we run into difficulty. I think if we stay true to how we feel with our immediate fellows, whether it is family, partners, animals in your life, friends. That's where your news lies because the news you create is what you do.
Right.
It's not that I'm not cognizant of stories. I don't forget, I've been reading for like 60
Your whole
years,
life.
right? 60 years I've been reading.
Oh, come
So
on, 29 years. Your
come
whole
on,
life,
I'm
Ellie.
like, yeah, I'm a child. No, but I mean, I can read a book and put it down and go, that's a great book. Is it my world? No. And the same is true of situations that I may see on television, on a screen, where I go, oh, wow, it's a story. Yeah. Am I in that story? No. Am I in the story that is being told over there? No. Does it mean I don't care? No, I get emotionally involved in stories and all kinds of movies and stuff like that. I'm very involved, but it's not my reality. And I don't think we should make it our strife, our we lead with love, and that is healing unto itself because we don't fall prey to the judgmental, which creates it in the first place.
And that's the key right there. So for the naysayers out there going, well, you've got to make a difference. You've got to stand up. We get that. We're not saying that's not true. What we are trying to establish is that if it doesn't directly affect you, you might be able to turn off the aggression, the passion, the strife, whatever, however it's affecting you. But I think the biggest key there is the word judgment because that's what doesn't make relationships work. I don't care if you're talking a spouse, a child, anything. People don't work well under judgmental conversation. And
No,
many of us speak judgmental 24/7. You don't even know it.
yeah,
And I learned it a lot in counseling. It starts with the word you.
yeah,
As soon as you were saying the word you, you're now placing a judgment on someone of how you think they should be. And you might be right for your world,
that's
but just
right.
because you want them to behave that way doesn't mean that's how they have to behave. And I think that's a big key to making relationships work, which becomes the word acceptance. And it's not easy for people not to judge, sorry, but you have to learn to accept
Yeah,
it's okay that we think differently. The politics, especially, I'll say there because I'm not very political. I admit that right now. I'll be the deer in the headlights because I don't study it enough. I have no right to an opinion on it. But I don't like what's happening with my friends, some of the people I know, and watching this great divide over politics, which I've never seen. Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know. But why are we deciding that, well, if you don't believe in this person and you believe in this person, you can't be with me anymore? That just seems so ludicrous.
I mean, it's like it comes down to all the isms: ableism, ageism, sexism, racism. All of those isms, are based on judgment.
Yeah, it's
If
true.
we could, who are we to have a concept about others other than ourselves?
Hmm.
Because the only person that you should be concerned about is you. Everybody else, because once you heal you, you heal everybody else. Once you love yourself, you love others. And to believe otherwise is a lie that the ego tricks you into believing. And what we fear is the assertion required to believe in yourself, your own self worth. And if I love myself and my self worth is in place and I celebrate all of my bits without judgment. Oh, your nose, your face, what the hell? Your hair, your colors, you're too big, you're too. I've been judged my whole life. I've been medicated, beaten, sexually abused, all because of not being the thing that you could go on and on and on and on and judge those that judged you. Why?
Yeah,
They fear your lack of judgment of self. And
yeah,
I think what we are responsible to, if we are to have relationships, Deb, like you said, with anyone whatsoever, clean house.
yeah.
Stop judging yourself. Stop judging yourself.
Hmm.
You
And you
know,
have to find a way to find the people that don't make you feel you have to be someone else.
no,
I think that's where couple relationships go really wrong. You start off like when I met my husband, my now husband, my
yeah,
ex-husband and I didn't work out so good, but dang, did we try for years and years and years. And we just he didn't like me actually, and I think I like this comment because he would say he'd be embarrassed of me, and you actually can't be embarrassed of me. I can be embarrassing, you betcha. I'm an idiot. I'm a voice actor. I'm weird. I'm wild. I'm wonderful. I'm all those things. But if you're embarrassed, that's actually on you, not me personally. So I'm the one making a fool of myself. It doesn't actually reflect you. And I think that alone was a good base of understanding why we didn't work, because I was judged throughout the relationship. And I was probably hard on other things. When I met my now husband, I wrote what we call the essay, and I was on a dating site. And on the dating site, I thought, here's a good opportunity to really do good sales. I know exactly what I want, sort of. So let me write that out and see what comes out. And I write a lot, I got a lot of words. And the first, it was all, I called it was plenty of fish at the time. So I called it plenty of fuckers because everybody was a one night stand. Everybody, they just wanted to have sex. And I thought I made it so clear in my essay. No, 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 not looking for that. So I rewrite my profile again and I adjust it to be more honest and more honest. And then I called it plenty of felons. And no judgment here, folks. I don't mean to say it that way. But all of a sudden, everybody was in jail. I don't know what I said, but it suddenly triggered everybody in jail. And I'm like, almost 40 years old. So this is not the time I'm into the bad boy anymore. I'm not judgmental, just probably not the right thing for me at this time. I write it one more time and I hardly had anybody respond. The first one was like 500 something people. Second one, you're narrowing it down to maybe 100 or so. Now I've got it down to three people who were brave enough to read the whole essay and weren't scared of me, of my independence, my specific list of exactly what I wanted. And what I said was, which I think is a key for all of you, is I said, listen, I want you to be exactly who you are on day one as you are going to be on 999,000. Because if you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict, you're a liar, you're bitchy, you're fun, you're crazy, whatever. If you be who you are right away from the start, I won't pretend to be anything than who I am. And if
Yeah.
you be exactly who you are, we're going to figure out right away if we're a fit. And if we're not a fit, just move the hell on. Don't judge. You don't have to be like me. I'm not the best. I'm just the best for me and I know what I need. And I think that's a big key is people don't know how to set those boundaries. Us women
Well, Deb,
definitely go
I
through
don't
that,
even think it's setting boundaries. I don't think
or
anyone gives
understanding them, I
credence
should
to
say.
their voice. I think they have been institutionalized to not know what to ask for, but to
Yeah.
ask for what they think they should be asking
Yeah.
for, or the perfect, narrative that we've swallowed for our whole lifetimes. So if we are in a place of judging ourselves, we will write an essay of like the perfect scenario where this is impossible, like that, you've got to be real and you've got to be clear about what you
What you
really,
want.
really desire. Like,
And that's what they don't know.
well, that's just it. And I would say, what do you desire of yourself?
Hmm.
And that is generally the partner that you want. Somebody who's liberated free, who takes risks, who might be, might have issues with certain things, but is working on it, whatever the hell that is
We
for
all
you.
got some.
Well, of course, because this fairy tale thing of, where you put up a picture of yourself and you don't look anything like yourself and you say things about yourself that are not real.
Yeah.
I already display me. I mean, me is me. I've never not been me, and I don't think you've ever been anybody but yourself. But I do live in a world where a lot of my fellows don't trust me. I still have struggled being me. It's not like, oh, you're magically,
Yeah.
fine if you're being yourself, because there's more involved there. You've got
Of
to really
course.
celebrate yourself. And most people will try to be themselves, but not celebrate it because their ego will say, it's too stupid. I've got to wear black and be cool, or whatever the hell they say.
Well, really, you got to find people that are free like you and in touch with who they are. That's the
Well,
hard part to
people go,
find.
you so don't care. And I go, oh, actually, I'm going to rephrase that for you. I care exponentially about my well being, because if my well being is truly ignited, then everyone I partake with, hopefully, it doesn't mean you won't have moments that are like shadowed with ego bullshit. That's going to happen. But for the most part, if you can, assuage all of that chatter that tells you you need to be like so and so, or have this kind of house, or that kind of money, or this kind of nose, or that kind of leg shape, or breast size, or whatever the hell is going on in the world, right? That has nothing to do with anything, because your sole purpose has nothing to do with your house, your car, your legs, your none of that. Because energetically, as healers, because I believe we've all come here, this dimension, this samsaric, whatever you want to call this
Moment.
matrix, it's a place of lessons, and we're not here alone, whether it's ancestral, whether it's walk-ins, whether it's alien, whether it's whatever you want to, the angels, whether there's all kinds of stuff going on here, I believe. And our job is to authenticate with great clarity the relationships that do happen in our life, good, bad, or indifferent, keep the judgment out of it, are there, in my opinion, to work out karma. I believe
Yeah.
everything is karma. If somebody slaps me in the face in a coffee shop because they're off their meds and they've lost their mind, and I happen to get the punch, I don't freak out. I go, okay, thank you for releasing me of my karma. I end up sitting down with said person, who's everyone in the shop is freaking out, calling 911. I end up sitting with that person crying because I'm like their mother, and they just got out of jail that they've been in for manslaughter for 14 years. There's a whole story, bleeding in crazy fists, and like you're like, and it all goes to a place. So rather than me go, what the, you're a, I don't, I go, I must have hurt you in another lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just kind of, let's just sit here for a minute. Now, this comes after years of work to, you know,
Seriously, folks.
but I mean, good, bad, and different. If a
Yeah.
wonderful things happen, we tend to miss it.
Lessons
A
learned.
wonderful thing, like somebody buys your coffee ahead of you, and you go, "What?" They paid for your coffee, and you're like, "They paid it forward." There's a little wonderful karmic gift to you to remind you that everything is possible, that
Mm-hmm.
every moment is a lesson, that every relationship. I think I told you, Deb, about the little gentleman, homeless gentleman,
Yeah.
several
We talked
weeks
about that
ago
last
in
time.
the ladies' underpants over on top of his jeans that he
Yeah.
kept all of his belongings in. They were stretchy ladies' underpants over his jeans. And
Everybody listen to episode 2. It's
well,
fantastic
there's
story.
another example. If the greatest joy, and I keep going back to it because I would have missed it.
Yeah.
I would have missed how it made me feel, like the
Mm-hmm.
magic of that moment. And you go, there's the exchange, there's the relationship. We think, oh, I had a fight with my partner, or my husband or wife or aunt or uncle or grandparent or whatever, lawyer, right? That's not real. That is an exchange of an emotional thing that generally has nothing to do with the immediate thing.
Situation. Yeah.
It just
Always
does.
deeper.
Relationships are messages daily, whether they're there or not there. Whether I see um, my favorite person every day, or I see them once every 6 months, the messaging is constant. The relationship with those fellows, animals, nature, whatever you have a relationship with. And I think it's so, are meant to inspire you, because they're lessons in everything, even if they're shitty. It's like,
Mm.
what do I learn from this moment? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Karmically, I'm released of that horrible thing that I obviously did to you and you're doing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you see how that goes? And then it's over. That karma's done. And it can be minuscule or it can
Yeah.
be huge,
And I
right?
think that takes the empathy. So if we put all the key core things together, we're talking about communication, creating
Yeah.
relationships, judgment, which restricts them, which takes empathy to try and find out why. And I think most women will really relate to this, and it's kind of a strange thing that it's more women than men. I think men come into themselves in their 30s. They're usually way too young until about then, and they start maturing differently. Women tend to mature a little earlier and expect more from men for them to mature quicker. Doesn't always happen. But what happens as us women age and we get into our 40s, the kids start growing up for typical scenario, and we've been the caretaker, the caretaker, the nurturer, providing for the kids. The kids are growing up now, they're teenagers, they don't need you as much as the mom figure, whoever plays the mom figure in the home.
Yeah.
And when that happens, we devalue ourselves and go, oh, what's my purpose again? Okay, they don't need me anymore, which I thought I was going to be really excited for. Oh, I'm going to sleep in. I don't have to make lunches, don't have to go to the games as much. But what happens is we don't feel our worth. And then we start looking at our spouses. This, I think, is a stereotypical situation. And we go, I'm not getting your food, you lazy ass. Get off your ass and get it yourself. And these poor guys or the poor spouse is going, where did that come from? What did I do wrong? Like I did nothing different than I've done for 40 years. And now all of a sudden you don't want to make my breakfast and you don't want to do this because it comes out of nowhere. And most women, I don't know if you'll agree, Ellie, because I know you've been more in touch with yourself than most humans do. But I feel like most women start liking themselves in their 40s and 50s and go, oh, why am I putting up with that friend who keeps putting me through hell, or that relationship, or why am I tolerating this from this person or this? And they start losing their shit. And you look at us and go, oh, menopause, you're bitchy. Well, no, actually, the problem is we weren't honest from the beginning. And you were talking about those signs or those intuition. If we all followed our intuition from when we're young, it wasn't lying to us. We
No.
just tolerated those people that we really shouldn't have, that weren't suited to us. Doesn't make them bad people. It just wasn't suited to me. And that's what I had to figure out, is finding who suits me, because I
Yeah.
don't want to not be me.
Well, and it's also, you can go through life alone if that's your choice. Nothing wrong with that. You have a relationship with yourself. That's fantastic. But
Hmm.
for most of us, setting boundaries is an issue. We don't
Yeah.
want to upset people. We want to try and be the nice person. We're not nice all the time. We're grumpy, crabby, snotty, having moments, having
Weird.
emotional out of body messaging that you're never going to understand. So stop trying to celebrate it. Go, I'm cranky. Leave me alone. Like, I give myself I'll say, oh, you feel like crying today? Go ahead, cry for 5 minutes. I'll generally
Yeah, of
bawl over
course.
animal videos. If I feel angry, I will yell, and I will yell and then I'll go, done. I'm not going to swallow it. I'm not going to sit
Me
on it. I
too.
go, I'm mad. I can sit there and go, I know why the reason I'm mad has nothing to do, although I'm trying to attach it to other things. Screw that. I'm feeling mad. Honor your feelings. We don't tend to honor our feelings with other people because we don't want to be judged.
Yep.
Guess what? You're judged anyway, even
Yeah.
if you're not expressing your feelings. So my message in relationships is set your boundaries. I find, and I got this through therapy. If you find yourself in an abusive moment, like meaning you feel threatened, attacked, not well, get up and leave.
Yeah.
And people
Hello.
go, what? And I started doing it, and people were like, I'd be out in restaurants, things would be getting kind of strange and interesting. And it was just like, I love you all, I gotta go. And I'd be like, what? I just go right now, energetically, just remove the impetus to
Hmm.
be combative, right? The other thing that I think we don't take action. We sit on how we feel and we don't express our truth. We don't do it. We don't. And Deb, we're very honest with. We
Yeah.
will argue and combat because our feelings are our feelings and we honor each other's feelings and we don't take it personally. We love each other. We're like sisters. We're like fucking crazy family who go fuck off. And that's the way it is. I am like that with many people. I'm like, fuck off.
Well, you
This,
speak your truth,
well,
right? We're
this
we're
is,
very
and
honest people. It's just the way it is.
yes, but most people won't because they're afraid of rocking the boat. And
Yeah.
if I think you don't rock the boat, if you say how you feel, and if I've offended you, I truly apologize because this is not my intention. People can't apologize and they can't take responsibility for their yelling
Yeah.
or their violence or their emotional.
Well, I think they're too busy teaching.
There you go. And we need to be able to set our boundaries with ourselves
Yeah.
first before you can truthfully have an honest relationship with anyone else.
I think a good way for people to think of this too is a lot of us become right provers. So
Yeah.
we get into combative situations because we want to be right. We want them to think the way we think. And it
Yeah,
doesn't mean that we're wrong or they're right.
that's
And
right.
that's the balance people have to find is why do you need, and I'm guilty of it too. I like my opinions. I like my taste. I think it's really good. But I've learned, okay, you don't have to feel the way I do. So I have
Yeah.
to learn when to remove myself from that conversation properly to not escalate it and not be in a teaching mode. Because me as a right prover, I'm going to teach because I'm a teacher by trade in some ways, so I'm good at it too, but is
Yeah.
it worth it? Do I really need to sway them to my way of thinking, or can I just live in my bubble the way I think and not affect
Debate is
them?
all about. Again, we have forgotten because of digital devising that we don't in person debate where there's one side who believes this and one side,
And
but
be okay
neither
with
one is right
that.
or wrong. The whole point of debate is that you try to prove your opinion.
Yeah, which
I
I
find
love.
the way the world has gone, there's no proof because they haven't investigated their opinion.
Hmm.
They just have assumed an opinion. And it's much like religion. I assume
Agreed.
that this Bible is the truth.
This is what they say it
And you go,
is.
well, prove it.
Yeah,
And that makes people crazy.
yeah,
Were you there? Did you write it? Based on what?
that's right.
All of those. And it makes people get very upset because that's when you'll go, you just have to believe and have faith
Yeah.
that it's right. And that is where have faith that I love you. Well, that again, love is an intangible. I would say, do you take my breath away? Good, bad, indifferent. Yes, you take my breath away when I'm really, really angry at you, and you take my breath away when I'm having sex with you, and you take my breath away when I'm having a huge moment of emotional moment of there's a possibility I might lose you. Whatever you do, it's like I just say, who takes your breath away? Because that's probably the person you want to have a relationship with.
Yeah.
And that is why in performance, Deb and I, yes, it's no. If you don't, if your audience, if you don't take away the breath of your audience, you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
So it's a relationship with anybody, anywhere. Even if I make you angry,
Hmm.
guess what? We have a relationship that is true. And that's a hard one for us because we want to be liked.
Hmm.
We want to be accepted. We want to be
Hmm.
that person. Guess what? There are people that are truly accepted because of their honesty.
That's right.
So
I
they're
think
not bullshitting,
I
right?
think that really draws into parental relationships. I feel like for a lot of parents, one of the mistakes we made in at least my generation, I'm 54. So in my generation, we started watching the Oprahs and the Dr. Phils, and we started learning how to reason with kids instead of just immediately punishing,
Yes.
spanking. We weren't talking. We weren't really allowed an opinion. Parent was an authoritarian and you were the child, do as you're told. And there's still some merit to that, by the way, you younger ones. However,
Oh, yeah. I
in a
turned out
way,
all right. And I'm 10
um,
years older than you, right?
yeah,
So I'm still of the baby. I'm a baby boomer.
exactly, baby boomer, right?
And
And I
it was
think,
like get a smack to the head and
yeah,
you just oh you listen to your elders. You didn't have an
right.
opinion. You do what you were told.
And we set out in our generation when we started learning how to reason and feel, we started learning, oh, okay, that this aggressive, violent behavior is no good, which is great. I think that's wonderful. But what happened in the process, I feel like, is we started teaching the kids reasoning and didn't keep authority. And so with kids, there's a different boundary. I am not the authoritarian of my husband. but I
Yeah.
am the authoritarian of my children when I'm raising them. And
Yeah.
so there has to be that boundary of understanding they can like me, but in some ways, if they love me all the time, like me all the time, I'm probably not doing my job very well because they
Right.
should be mad at me sometimes for not allowing them to do things because I know better. I have a mature mind to know the outcome of that. And their mind isn't developed enough to understand that. So if we could go back to the balance of what it was meant to be, which is reasoning is great, but don't let them control you. Don't let them manipulate you because we've lost footing. It seems like the kids are raising the parents now instead of the parents raising the
Well,
kids.
again, it's like, here's where you go. Who is your mentor? Who is mentoring anybody?
Yeah. Where's
Who,
your parent
who
guide?
well, if everything is a lesson, if
Yeah.
every moment, the man
Right.
dancing with ladies' underpants over his jeans, the person who bought my coffee and paid it forward, the air flight hostess who gave me extra peanuts, whatever the hell is going on, right? If everything is a lesson, what I think is the younger generation, because they are brought up on a digital device, have lost their intuitive nature where they get the lesson and that the lesson is being given to you by a mentor, someone who has got your best interest. So what's happening with the younger crowd, they have no respect
Yeah.
for the elders because the machine gives them all the information. They can Google anything. They don't need you
Yeah.
to do anything.
I never
In
thought of
fact,
that.
I know more than you do, mom or dad. And there's this weird, like in the universities now, where you can't say they're like, you've literally got to second guess how you communicate if you're an older from a different time, because you will be challenged by everybody how you express yourself. And you can't say words like crazy. Oh, that was so crazy. You can't say it. You will be challenged
Yeah,
for
that's
using a
right.
word like crazy. And it's at the point where now you can't authenticate your voice or your relationship with people because you're second guessing how they might fear or respond to what you will say. So you literally dumb it down to a memorized, which is not creative and not inventive and not teaching in any way.
It's true. I feel like we've come to a place where I think another whole episode is just on technology alone to give you
Oh,
guys some advice of what we think might help you
oh,
to find other solutions because I watch it with my grandkids as well. And, I can be guilty of it too, where I don't want them on their devices all the time, but they come over and I'm so used to my own world now that it's like, oh, it's easier. It's easier. But we're seeing the results and everybody knows it. It's just a matter of what do you do now to replace this because the wheel has grown so far and so
well,
big.
it's like our retreat, Deb, where we literally took it out of all of the
Yeah.
digitizing, formulaic, do, and threw people out in the woods. And they were like, what's happening? Like,
Mhm.
but the creativity created the emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, intellectual, communicative skills of playing together was like going to church in the woods in a
Yeah.
weird way where you find your community, your ability to express yourself. And I think we long for that relationship
Yeah.
because we don't have it. And even
Yeah.
if we have partners or family members, like you just said, Deb, we are still in a world where it is easier to detach by going to the TV, by
It's true.
going to the
Yeah.
laptop, by going to the
Yeah.
phone, by going to as we all know, it's not like something, we're
Yeah.
looking for all of our information, all of it,
All the
not
time.
from the wise
It's,
people in reality,
it's too
not from our
accessible.
husband or wife or partner or aunt or uncle or grandparent. We don't go there to listen to their stories. We could,
Yeah.
it's like my 94-year-old father that I make a trek to go see, and it's not easy, but I have made it a part of my life that I will, because he is from such a different time, and the uniqueness and the health of this human being is because he's not on any of it. And
Mhm.
he still has a mercurial fascination and love of himself and love of those in his life that is present. And I don't know how else to say it because he isn't distracted
Yeah.
by those things of trying to be that which he doesn't even know about. He's not trying to be anything but what he is because he doesn't know
Any
what's
different.
possible. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
And I think it's so important that we look at what are we doing to nurture these relationships. A good example, just again, in what we're talking about right now with technology, is my husband fought Facebook. He didn't want to be on Facebook at all. And I kept saying, no, go on, go on. There's some people you can see. And I don't spend any time on social media, so I don't even know why I did. Now I work my own business. So I have to be on the internet. I have to be on my computer all the time, phone. I know how to take my time out now that I didn't before. But with him, we'll be visiting family, friends, whatever, and he's too busy searching, searching. And I said, is that really important information that you're looking up right now? They'd be like, well, no, he hides his phone. But then another 10 minutes go by and he figures like a teenager, you're not watching, and right back to it. And let's think about a Facebook feed for a second. You've got your family there who you only see maybe once a week, maybe every couple weeks, other than myself personally. And you think that looking at that guitar or whatever it is, the band from last week or the whatever picture's gone by is more important than what we're doing right here in this moment. And he's not alone. This is what's going on with the entire planet. So we as people who care about it, whether
Yeah.
you're a parent, a spouse, whatever, we have to try our best to create environments that are making them not want to touch that
Now,
device.
and you can't love someone with your face in a screen.
You just can't.
You're not loving yourself. You're not loving anybody that you're with. And for example, I would do meditations with a friend, but all of the notifications would go ding, meaning something would be. And as we're meditating, I could hear
Distracted.
it's like you can't finish the meditation. You've got to look to see somebody's contacting me. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
goodness.
no, you're meditating right now.
I
Like
know.
that is the penultimate of somebody has something to say to me. Yeah, always. But that doesn't mean we focus on that. We need to focus on the relationships we are in the moments we're in, but we are so distracted with the other possible, which is going back to plenty of fish.
Yeah.
We think, oh, oh, they like me, oh, they like me, oh, and it's all bullshit. Like it's not real. Coming back full circle, your relationship with yourself has to be rock solid. And
Mhm.
if it is not, then your relationship with your partner won't be. Your
Yeah.
relationship with your friends won't be. Your relationships with your family won't be, gang. As a wise person, because I'm of an age that I can actually go, don't
Yeah.
fall into that trap. Go home, come home first. All of the work that is required is not working to get somebody else in your life or get a job or get a lover or get that relationship. The relationship must always be at home, be
Yeah.
here. It's the only thing you've got. The only real thing you've got is you.
Hmm.
That's all you've got. So work on that first, is my suggestion. Then everything else will be brilliant.
And you are the gift. And as much as she's saying that, it's cliche because we hear this all the time, but I propose to all of us, are we teaching that? Are we
No,
focusing more on teaching academics and how to do the chores and how to play this game and get this for Christmas and whatever else, more than we're teaching them how to love them? Because look at all the bullies we've created. And we're creating those bullies, and those bullies are being bullied. So usually a bully is being bullied who carries this on, and that comes from ego, judgment, ridicule, all those things. And that forces people to stop being who they are. And we're
Yeah.
watching this so clearly with the, again, digital technology, as you've all heard. People are saying things online they would never say to their face. So now we're creating a whole different environment of balls where people are saying things they actually
Well,
probably don't even, yeah, they probably don't even mean it. They're just going with social norm. Or so when you think about this, when we're in school, when we're young, this is where we have to start the most. And we're not paying enough attention, I feel, to creating communication over academics. I think communication is the most important thing that should be taught from be preschool and on. Well, obviously from our own parents and on, but I think it should be 100% of school curriculum, because if you can't communicate, you can't love yourself, you can't create relationships, you could end up suicidal, you could end up being one of those persons who felt bullied and just left the world, and you didn't get to explore past your puberty level of not being mature enough to absorb what you were really going through. And we don't seem to get there when we're young. It
no.
seems like we don't love ourselves till we're older. And yes, that takes experiences, and I understand that, but I still feel somehow we're missing a major important aspect for kids, for them to understand how to communicate their feelings. We
Yeah.
teach them to lie from the beginning. No, don't say that he's too fat. That's not appropriate. But the kid is being honest. Mom, why is he fat? Mom, why is his skin black? Mom, why is the dog doing this? Kids are so honest. And then we condition them to lie. Instead, we could condition them of how to say the truth. And I
Well,
think
or
that's where it
condition them
starts.
with it's what every religion in the world is trying to do. No judgment, love everyone.
Yeah,
No judgment.
sort of.
Well,
Everybody.
but nobody,
They're trying to do, I think, most
I'm
of
going to
them, or
say
take
that's
over the
their,
world.
love thy neighbor. Can't do
That's
it.
right.
I love some people, but not those people. And it's like, no,
Love
no,
them all.
you don't love yourself because what it threatens you. What are you so scared of? What have you been conditioned to believe? None of it is real. It's institutionalization. And even the institution tells you to love one another, and you can't
Yeah.
because you are so conditioned by those that are teaching to judge those, even as a kid, throw stones at the Protestants, the Catholic kids would throw stones at us, right? It's really crazy. And I'm not even I've been a Christian, a
Active.
Jew. I've done,
Mhm.
ever read the Quran. I've tried
Yeah.
everything. I'm looking for, you just look for answers, right? It all basically says the same thing, but
Hmm.
people will overlook the basic message, which
Yeah.
is love one another.
Yeah. That's true. Don't take
Uh,
advantage of the gift we've been given. We've all been given the gift of life, and whether you like it or not, we share it. It's
that's it.
not just our alone gift. And while it does come from ourselves first, we still have to be somewhat of a use to the rest of the team, because we're all one team. We're all from one cell in the end.
Say this every day when I'm coaching. I go, you're breathing. You wake up
Oh,
and you
wow.
take breath. That's all you need to know. That is a celebration. That one moment of that's all you to inspire. Okay, that is your celebration. For everything else is garbage. Lead with that. And guess what? All of us here take a breath each morning until we don't. And then you're not here anymore. So why are you playing that game? Celebrate that and only that. But no, our ego will take us into, don't need me. You breathe. That's all you need to know. That's it.
I think it's
Isn't that a
so,
gift? That's the greatest gift you could
yeah.
possibly want.
I think it's so important we get back in touch with family games and
Yeah,
dating.
yeah.
And dating doesn't have to cost. You can just go for a
Oh,
walk. You can enjoy time together. But what I think a lot of people fail in relationships is we tend to be self-serving because we only know us. And that's understandable. I only know how I think, how I breathe. I can guess all day long and be predictable about people's behaviors, but only they truly know inside their thoughts and demeanors and things. I think we don't ask enough people questions. If you want to create a relationship, you're around someone who's really quiet, Ask them more questions. They will answer you if you just care enough to want to ask. But we wait for people to want to bring and initiate our communication, unless you're someone like Ellie or us who can communicate all day long and never stop. It's actually more teaching us to not
Well,
communicate
for
less.
me, it's like having a family meeting, and basically, in three people, two people carry the whole thing and somebody
Yeah.
remains. And that's where you go, your voice is you are present, but it's that fear of having an opinion, of rocking the boat, of taking a side, of doing a thing, of whatever. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. Contribution is contribution. We're all here breathing together. Um,
And all
play
deserve to be.
Play is not expensive. Communication is not expensive. It doesn't cost you anything to have a conversation and to share information or
Hmm.
debate or what. That doesn't cost you a friggin' thing. And yet we're so, again, forgetful about right beside us for the most part. Contact your friend. I just
Yeah.
went and had coffee with a fellow um, actor writer this morning, and huge things happened. Now, I
Yeah.
didn't have to do that. I have a very full day. And I was like, keep yourselves, as Deb's saying, communicating. It doesn't cost you anything to play and share in real time. Don't get lost in the endless tunnel of non reality,
Hmm.
which is that other place that we want to go to.
And I see a lot of people since COVID, at least in my crowd, really not getting out anymore, not doing anything. We became real homebodies when we were all locked at home, and we are starting to enjoy that. But I still think that that goes back to what we're saying. We're not living as bright a life, maybe, as we could be. And I will do one little flip side to the technology and communication. There are people that are very reclusive and don't want to be out in the world, and it gives them a chance to speak and to be heard, and no one's talking back when it's text. And so that can be very good, but I encourage all of you to use technology to your advantage. Ellie and I are both extremely busy. We run too many businesses at once. We don't know how to stop or slow down. And you might like it or not like it. For us, it works, and we're happy and content in that. But we both, in our busy, recognize that if we don't take time for our relationships, that they will dissipate. And so I equally have to put in efforts to all my friends. I do ask them to be lenient with me. I'm very communicative with them, and I say, listen, I run so much and I talk all day, literally. So the last thing I think of when I'm done on my day is who should I call, even though I should be. I've had to learn to make sure I'm in touch with even my kids sometimes. It's almost a list for me. Did I contact Ellie this week? Did I say hi? I'll never forget one time, Ellie, you told me many, many, many years ago. You said, I have a girlfriend and she texts me almost like every day and just asks me something about myself every day. And I started doing that with you. I thought, what a beautiful thing. Like if you could just put someone in your mind that way to show that you care about them and you're thinking of them, but also be realistic in your time frames of what you can afford. But if you don't stay self-serving in your relationships and care about wanting to be a good friend for them too, this will help build a lot of the relationships you have, because a lot of relationships suffer because of lack of time.
That's it. And then you will have the people, if you're like me, who I feel responsible to because they go, I need your help. And I will leap.
Yeah,
And it becomes a constant of, I need your help. I need your help. And the relationship then becomes based on
I need
it's,
your help. I need your help.
well, I need your help. I don't need you to, just
Yeah,
be in my life. It's like you're in my life to do this. And I realize I don't do that to anybody, and that's not a here nor there. But as you said, Deb, I started this year with I am going to make an effort to commit to the people that matter in
yeah,
my life,
yeah.
whether it's my 94-year-old father, more, my friends out in Warkworth, my friend in Vancouver, my friend in Germany, and I will travel rather than go, I can't, I'm too, it's just,
I just can't.
bleh. It either matters or it doesn't. I
Yeah,
drop into your house on the way to see my father or I don't. You make the plan so that that's how it goes. And you you show up to the relationships that matter, because we take for granted, I think, those that we love or we believe love us, and
Hmm.
they'll just love us no matter what. But it's the checking in part
Yeah.
where you can somebody say, "How are you doing?" And you feel yourself going, blah, 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 blah. And no, I don't want to do that. I want to contact you and go, "How are you doing?
How are you doing?
How
Yeah.
are you doing?" Because
Yeah.
I'm not even conscious of how I'm doing. I'm like, I'm great. I don't know. I'm fine. I have nothing to talk about really.
Hmm.
Um, do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I find that you have to take action. It's too easy to,
Get
you know,
complacent.
here's an example. My cousins just posted a thing and they said, "We're going to Punta Cana for a week and you know, you should come. And it's only $2,600 or whatever for this fancy." And, you know, I haven't gone on a vacation in a long time. And I was like, oh, it's a conflict, right? Because I work on Mondays. And then I went, screw that. Like, you
World move
know,
on.
like this is where you go. Having just lost my agent, she died suddenly while I was away in Vancouver.
Yes, I forgot to talk to you
So
about that.
shocking
Oh, so sorry, hun.
and painful and freakish. And you always, and my husband's father died at the end of December. Shocking on it. Yeah, you just, you know, when everybody has to go after the fact and just like and I go, I don't want to get to a point where I go, oh, I should have gone and
Right.
done that thing. Oh my God. Because there was, you know, there's that shows up, right?
Hmm.
And God, I wished her happy birthday 2 days before she died. And you
Yeah.
know, you live in that place, but I don't make an effort to do those, you know, and then you go, well, now I have to show up to the funeral, right? And then you can't show up to the funeral because of you're sick. And then there's that moment of like, oh, which isn't real anyway. It's after
Hmm.
the fact. You either have a relationship with the people when they're alive. Like I said, we take a breath every moment in the morning and go, yay, create your
Yeah.
relationships, man. It's in your ballpark,
Yeah.
nobody else's. You don't have to go, oh, I'll wait until they contact me. It takes me 2 seconds. Go coffee on a text, coffee, response immediately. I
Hmm.
did it when I got back from Vancouver because I was like, I've been away taking care of my soul. And now my soul is connected to other things back here, connect to it.
Hmm.
In it. You know, you go and have dinner, you go and have coffee, you go and have
Yeah.
coffee the next day, you meet with so and so, you meet with so and so. We forget, Deb, and it's like you said, you and I are the busiest people I know, and we
Yeah.
can do,
We
we
can.
still make.
I think if people start looking at relationships as give and take, because there's a lot of you out there that are givers and you don't take. There's a lot of you out there that are takers and you don't give. There's a balance here. And in order to have a good relationship, even if you need something from someone else, try and actually just care about the person because you'll get way more than you thought when you just need them, want them in your life, give them a reason to live just as much as you have, to feel good about the relationships they have. And it takes a 2-minute text. And a lot of people that I avoid talking to each week, it's because it's an hour and a half on the phone and I know I don't have it. But I also know how to set my boundaries and I also know when to make those calls so that I can give that attention that they need. Just do a little bit each day, at least once a week. Write a list for yourself if you have to, but remember, ask questions, care about them just as much as you want them to care about you.
And guys, why we fear asking for help? Because
Ego.
your
Ego.
relationships are the things that will heal you.
Yeah.
Your relationships and communication within the relationships. People sit in silence and struggle alone. Why would you do such a thing? Because you want people to think that you're doing really well when in essence you aren't? Who cares?
Hmm.
I'm fucked and I need to talk to you. What's wrong with it? Sure. I'll say to my friends, I need help. What do you need? I'll be there in 2 seconds. And you know who those people are. It's like if you ended up in jail in Istanbul and when I have one phone call, you know who you're going to call. And yet you'll forget about that person.
Yeah.
And
Till you need
sometimes,
them.
sometimes the person that comes to your aid when they find out there's a problem is not who you think they are.
Yeah.
And it's some rando kind of tertiary friend who will bend over backwards to help you. And that's where you go, wow, I have no clue what's happening. If I just say, I need help, and whoever shows up is meant to show up, have a relationship with those people,
Value that.
and value the help that is given because it's reciprocal.
That's right.
It helps them by helping you. And when you help somebody else, when we teach, when we coach, when we do when we give what we give, it helps us.
Yeah.
It actually gives us. People think, oh, wow, you give so much. And it's like, oh no, we're
Makes
getting
me feel
an
good.
incredible
Yeah.
amount of energy from this. So just know, like Deb said, give and take, stay open, set your boundaries, take action in communication, and ask for help.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is a great, great tool that we never want to use because we just assume that people are a done deal and will never have a relationship with those people. Now, there's always a solution to every issue. Communication is key. Your relationship with yourself starts with self worth and love. And from there, take action, man.
Betcha. Now we'll have probably many more conversations about this because communication all ties to these things. If you have any questions or specific things you'd like us to talk about, or you might want to join us on the show, we will be having guests soon. You can reach out to us at info@getmiked.com. That's MICD.com, and reach out anytime. We'd be happy to help you. Till next time, everybody.
We love you hard. Chit chat.